There you go.
Remember when we were supposed to record all of our meetings?
We did the first thing. Okay, Ashrae. All right, everyone. Okay, so today's presentation is going to be Freedom by Design. It's the last one for the week. Yay. I'm Deepa. I'm the Freedom by Design director, and so I'm going to be kind of going over Freedom by Design and what it all encompasses and what it's all about and how you can get involved. So these are the 4 things that we're going to be going over. So we're going to start off with, of course, what FBD is, which stands for Freedom by Design. So the mission statement. In the past, a lot of FBD have to do with design building, but now moving forward, the whole scope of Freedom by Design is changing a little. And so it's basically about taking your skills and your talents and getting involved in offering service to the community, to the school, to literally anything that has to do with architecture, or not even architecture directly. But basically the vision is making an impact to the community and also seeing an improvement happen because of your skills and your talents. And that can be through designing or building. So here's a general scope of how FBD kind of works. And so there's, of course, like the overarching ones of like culture, education, physical, and then like environmental things. And so kind of break those down. So environmental would be more so like making a little garden bed. And that can also relate to educational. So like last year, we worked with an elementary school and made garden beds and stuff like that. And we're also going to be working with like the same organization this year. Another way is cultural. And so like offering different services through like our local library. And then also, of course, like physical would be like maybe helping out the Habitat for Humanity, which is more so, of course, building, but still offering service. So this is one of the biggest things I want to hit today, and so it's the FBD team. Right now, all of the positions are open except of course director, but this is like an open application right now. And what we're looking for is project manager, which is someone who basically, what it sounds like, project manager runs a project, a specific project. Make sure that the schedule is up to date, make sure that we're meeting the deadlines, make sure that we're communicating with the client or whoever we're doing the project with in the community. Just like coordinating that with not just FBD, but also through AIAS and other team members, and maybe even like other students who aren't on the board but want to get involved in a specific project that they feel like they can make an impact on. The development manager is basically the fundraiser, and so the person who kind of handles all the money, who makes sure that we have funding or supplies for a specific project. And so like not all the projects we would be funding, but say we were doing or even like supplies, say we're doing a design shred, we need to make sure that we have like pens, pencils, trace paper, just like simple things like that, nothing too crazy, but that's basically what the development manager would do. And then the public relations position would be almost like a historian, and I don't want to say like historian in kind of like the old way, but in the sense of like documenting everything. And so like, of course, digital documentation, social media, emailing, keeping connection between the main AIS, but also keeping a connection to the community, to other team members, to students, like getting the word out there, but also documenting it all so we know what we did in previous years, and so everyone knows like what FBD is about. And then the other two, these are more, I'm not really going to go over them too much, but they're design and construction mentors. So nothing that y'all can get involved with, it's more of a professional, but to kind of touch on that, yes, we'll have contact with professionals. And so like our, I don't know if you know Professor White, he's our faculty advisor. And so that's of course like one way also I'm going to be involved. And of course he has other connections. And if we did a design build project, then we would be in contact with construction people or with professionals in the field. And then of course, if you don't want to be a board member, you can always be a team member and helping in the community service aspect, because even if you're not a board member, doing service is still a way of contributing to FBD. So kind kind of like what I mentioned earlier, FBD is not just design build, but also community. And I don't wanna just kind of like hone on that part, but it is really important that you don't have to be necessarily like an AIS member to be involved. Like, yes, it's great if you're an AIS member, but like if you want to tell your friends, like, hey, like even if you're a roommate, like someone who's not even a part of AIS, like, hey, I'm going to go help these kids at this elementary, and we're just gonna like help them paint some garden beds. Do you want to come? That's a great way, and like, you know, it's just like community service. I know like a lot of us probably had to do community service in high school. This is kind of like an extension of that, just more professional field. So now I'm going to be going over a little bit of the process, and the only reason I'm going to talk about this is because the team are not the only ones who can bring the project. So it doesn't have to be just like me who says, hey, I know Loop It Up has a project, we're going to do this project, or like the project manager is like, hey, I found this project, we're going to do this project. Like you as a team member can also bring a project if you know of something that needs to be done in the community. Say that you saw like a flyer somewhere and you're like, oh, this is such a cool idea, maybe FBD can do it, and you can bring it to the FBD team and also contribute. And so literally the sky's the limit for FBD. There's no specific criteria. Like you can go to your local hospital, like churches, libraries, literally anywhere, and find a project and bring it to FBD, and hopefully we can try to get it going. And so that's just kind of a way of getting the word out there. And also, like I mentioned, it doesn't have to be building, it can be a design trend. So if you know someone who's trying to remodel a museum or remodel like a historical site in Savannah, then you can be like, hey, like I go to SCAD and I know a group of students who would love to like get you some design plans or floor plans or maybe even renderings, and that's also another way of doing service through FBD. And this is kind of also going over like the whole aspect of making sure that we're doing more social impact than building impact. I'm not going to go too much into this. It's going to be more so if you're going to be a board member. But now this is kind of like the cool part where we're going to go over what FBD has done in the past year, so the portfolio. So last year, FBD got really involved with Loop It Up, and this is something that's going to continue on hopefully for a long time now. But Loop It Up is basically a community service organization in Savannah, and they are always looking for volunteers. It's like strictly volunteer based. And so here you can see there's like Liz, there's Carolina. I don't know Carolina, but she was previous FBD director. And so here you can see like they're just working with students and kind of like doing painting and stuff like that. And it may seem like, oh, like how am I even making impact? But to the kids, it makes a lot of difference. And so that's what FBD is really about, is making an impact on the community. This is the biggest project that was done last year. And so Flannery O'Connor Childhood Home was a museum that, of course, the organization had. And what they wanted to do was take a museum and turn it into an event space, or for like receptions, like a little bookstore on like the ground floor. And so this right here was a design charrette held. It was like just a workshop day. I think it was like a Friday or Saturday held. And you just come, throw out ideas, draw some floor plans, and you just kind of get that idea rolling. And this was just like a great way to kind of get service going. And then that plan turned into a design proposal and was pitched to the committee of Flannery O'Connor during the summer, and they actually loved it. But the way that this works is that they need to get a grant to build. And so right now they're trying to get a grant. And if they do get the grant, then they're expecting to come back to us. And hopefully we can also help build and do the renovations. And so here you can see like all the renderings and everything. It's really cool. And how basically the design proposal was pitched to them, and also think about like accessibility and everything. So this is like a project that you could put on your resume or on your portfolio because it's something that you directly helped do, right? Yeah, so here's some other examples that aren't like just design or field based. So like right here you can see the school in the Northeast did a toy drive. And so that's something like, what does that have to do with architecture? But also remembering that Freedom by Design doesn't have to directly align to architecture. It can be anything that makes an impact in the community. And so doing toy drives or really small knickknacks for like students, it could be literally anything during any time of the year. All right, so possibilities. And so this is going to be talking more about what are the benefits of FBD. So of course, like getting community service, getting involved, doing more so exploring your creative mind outside of the studio in a way. And so you're not just so like, oh, I have such great ideas, but like I'm not able to use them in the studio. So getting out there. And if none of this sounds appeasing, then if we get the right project, you could earn XP hours. And so that is something that's of course like really nice that we're all looking for here. And so it's a great way to get involved. Project essentials, of course, like funding, depending on the project, we would need funding. Volunteers is, I think, the biggest one. It's just like, if it's just me and Liz and Juanita going to a project, then like, if you saw all three of us trying to lift up a lumber or something like that, you'd be laughing at us because it's just like, you know, the more volunteers, the better, right? And so like, if we had everyone in this room go to a building project, how amazing would that be? Like, it would be awesome, right? And then of course, like community involvement, which is getting out there. Some like successes that we kind of want to make sure that happens for projects is having some meetings and of course like getting engaged. And so like all of y'all are here and I'm so grateful, but it's just making sure that we stay as a team, right? And so we're all on track with each other, communicating with each other and getting on the same page so that we make the best outcome of a project. Okay, so goals, of course, now is exactly what I mentioned, is making an impact and building a project that's lasting and essential for the community and for AIS. And so here's some potential project ideas that are going right now for Freedom by Design. And so Habitat for Humanity, like I mentioned, right now I'm in the talks with Habitat for Humanity, hopefully to figure out a project, maybe like building, even if it's like a small house, something like that in the Savannah area. We're still trying to figure that out because with something that's like a build project, there's a lot of liability that goes through it. And so that is something that's going to take probably a little bit more process to get started. But Little Bit of Savannah is something, like I mentioned, is volunteer community service based. And so there is STEAM Day coming up at Williams Elementary. That's still not finalized. But once I have like finalized date and time, I'll be sending out like emails and everything about that. And that's going to be, it's gonna be like one of those elementary situations like right here you see. So it would be only like an hour to this, nothing crazy. It won't take like your full day up, but it's just a way of getting the ball rolling with community service. Flannery Connor childhood home renovation. So we're still waiting on that grant, but fingers crossed, if we do, then that's going to be a really good project that we can help initiate and like start and follow through. So the SCAD bus stops, this is something that's kind of rolling over from last year. And I really, Carolina, the past director, was really, she felt really strong about this project. And honestly, like after her explaining it to me, I was like, wait, this is like a really neat idea. Like, why don't we have this? And so the SCAD bus stop idea is that, so y'all know the bus stops off of Turner, right? So those bus stops are kind of just, they're really, I don't even know the words, but they're really, yeah, they're just there, right? And it's like you're walking uphill, but you're like, if you're just walking through and there's like a bunch of kids just sitting on the floor. Also, if you have like an 8 p.m. class and you're waiting on the bus, you're just gonna throw your stuff down and sit, but there's really nowhere to sit, like you're sitting on the sidewalk. But people also walk on the sidewalk, and that sidewalk is also not very like great. It's like a hill, like I mentioned, right? And so trying to improve that area is something that is really would be really nice, right? It's like if I was a freshman or a sophomore, like if I was sitting there waiting, I would stand off to the side because first of all, it just doesn't feel like you feel nasty. There's no seating, there's no really like real canopy or anything. It's just kind of there, right? But that's like a really big hub for the bus stops. And so that's one of the biggest projects that hopefully we can try to push through, because like we got through the dean of architecture, but then like this May student dean was just like, let me think about it. So hopefully we can try again. And then lastly, this is something that's kind of been thrown back burner, but still like kind of goes back to y'all. If y'all have any ideas that y'all know, we're always open to hear any of the ideas that y'all may have. So thank you for listening. And I hope that I impacted y'all enough to get involved with FBD, whether it be like a board member or a team member. Thanks, guys.
Yay!
all of your social medias and emails.
Yes, Zach.
I was saying yay.
What about Zach in the FBD
I was just gonna say
committee?
that.
Zach, what do you have to explain with the FBD committee? What is that?
Oh, we just started that. Like, I just got a part of the chat. I honestly don't know a whole lot
All right, everyone.
from the committee.
So AIAS mentioned the first day has various committees. One of the biggest ones is the Freedom by Design Committee. So they work specifically with helping all of us in different chapters around the US, helping us find different projects. So it's a really good network that we have. So FBD directors are a part of it, but also, for example, Vice President from SCAD AIAS, Zach, who is just passionate about the projects and is just passionate about learning more about FBD is also part of it. So they are going to open the applications up again if you guys want to be involved on a national level. But no harm, no fear, you can still be involved in the SCAD level, but just letting you all know that there is possibilities to get involved in a national level.
That's really exciting, like, to know that you're not just making an impact in Savannah or SCAD, like, you're doing it nationally, like, that's awesome. It's really cool.
And I was just thinking, one thing that I do know is that all of these projects, these FTD projects, like the national level does actually keep track of them. Like they have like a folder and everything. They want to know what we're doing. So when you're a part of these things, they get known. Like they're not just held here at SCAD. Like they get known across the board on the AIS level, like all the way across the country. Like everyone's looking at them to see ideas and just what you're doing, and they just want to know and get involved too. So networking, I guess that's a part of it.
It's a big networking thing. It's like if you're just getting your dipping your toes in something can get you a long way. You'll never know where it gets you. This is also a form, so kind of like a member form, and everyone here can also fill it out. So I know who came to the meeting. So like if I see your face again, like somewhere else, you'll be like, oh hey, like nice to see you again. Yes, please fill this out.
Another thing for those of you who came in a little bit late, like once we had already announced it, all of the positions are opened. So for those of you sophomores, juniors, and even freshmen specifically, we are looking for all of these young faces to get involved really early on. And who knows, after FBD, like team member, you could be the FBD director and then transition onto AIS and then go on to AIS National. So it can expand a lot more. Also resume, if none of that sounds appealing. Resume.
And don't be scared, like don't be like, oh, I'm not qualified for this, because like I promise you, you have more potential than you think you do, and you never know. And also remembering that this is like a team effort, you're not by yourself, you're not alone, everyone is always here to help you and support you, so never hurts. Never hurts.
Questions?
Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, is there like a registration fee or membership fee like AIS?
So FBD is under AIS, and so if you're an AIS member, then you're a part of FBD basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if you want to be a board member, you do have to be an AIS member. And so going through that whole like process of like becoming an AIS member on like their website and everything, and of course there is a fee on that. But honestly, it's really not too bad because it lasts for a year and everything, and you also do get a lot of benefits like we talked about on Monday.
And also there's the grants, napkin sketch competition
Oh,
is
yes.
still open. For those of you, please submit your napkin sketch if you're thinking of becoming a member. You can get a free membership. So, what is membership? Sorry, membership costs $57 as of right now. Throughout the year, we'll let you guys know because they usually decrease the fee around Beast Month, which is membership month. So I think last year during membership month, they decreased it to $32, which is, affordable. If you're also thinking of the price, there have a bunch of membership grants that you can apply. You can say why you want to become a member and why you would benefit from that membership grant. So they have a lot of other stuff. Like they have also scholarships. There's FBD specific scholarships if you are an FBD director or an FBD team member. So there's a lot of different great ways that you can, save money because we understand we're all students. We've been there. So,
It's always been that price though, it's
Yeah.
not like.
Yeah, it's not something that
We're
will
dictating
change it.
and that price, just to clarify, that price doesn't go to us at SCAD. Just because I've gotten questions about that, it goes directly to AIAS National. And with that amount of money is how they do swag, which if you haven't looked at it, they have stickers, they have tote bags, they have a whole bunch of cool stuff. And that is also how they do their conferences. So all of that dictates the amount of members and the amount of stuff that we get during conferences.
Any other questions?
Well, hopefully you guys all are interested in
Yes.
joining all 4 clubs. Having all 4 organizations on your resume, it's just a good conversation starter in interviews. It will put you on the top of, applications. And it will just, you have a big advantage compared to others. I would say out of everybody, like in the architecture program, those who you meet that are in the clubs usually tend to take this career field way more serious. So those are the people that you truly do want to network, because I mean, you'll never know where you end up and what internships you can get. And I've had nothing but great experience the past 4 years being here with all 4 clubs, and the people who I've met and the people that have friended me on LinkedIn. So yeah, I can say I'm graduating, very confident because of these clubs.
And I think like something to add on to that is just like, it's, so in like high school, we're kind of like listed things, right? And so like you're able to build a resume on that, but it's just like something that you did, like say I'm a senior, right? And so if I had something 4 years ago on my resume, it's not gonna look as good as something that I did last year. And so that's also where the conversation started, right? Like AIS is not something that just stays within schools, but it's like when you go out into the field, it's something that's talked about, because there are also AIA professionals, right? And so same thing with like FBD, it's a really good like subsection to have in your resume, because it's like, okay, yeah, you're part of AIS, you're part of FBD, or Ashrae, NOMAS, but what did you do? Like you're a member, yeah, like that's awesome, but what did you do? And so like this is something like, oh, well, I did like this design shirt at school, or like I did this little service project with elementary students, and so that just kind of gets like it going and building up.
And you've heard from all 4 of us throughout the week. We will be sending out the recordings. We have recordings from AIS, Ashrae, and FBD today. We will be looking into sending out the presentation for the NOMAS, but if you weren't able to attend. But if you ever have any questions, we're all here. I think you all got to know all of us a little bit more. And if you didn't, tomorrow at SCAD Beach, great segue, at SCAD Beach at 5:30 p.m., we will be doing a game night. It's going to be really exciting. We're going to have food, giant Jenga, cornhole, board games, and music.
I am the host that night.
Exactly. So if you're excited, please come over. It'll be like, a relaxing time. Take a breath, get away from studio, get a little bit away from Clark, even though we're, well, yeah, we're close by, but yeah, we hope to see all of you all there tomorrow, 5:30.
And if you guys ever have a question, because I've seen a few of these faces at all these meetings now, like for real, Juanita, Zach, Deepa, and myself, we all just recently found out that we actually got on national committees for the country. So if you seriously ever have a question or need help, we all have great advice. We're all part of 4 completely different national committees.
Crazy.
Completely different ones, but I mean,
Which one are you a part of, Liz?
I'm on the ethics. So
What
if
about
you
you?
do something at school, I'm
Be
gonna
careful.
find out.
I'm on justice and diversity, and so that's like, it may seem like the same thing as ethics, but it's totally different.
Yeah, they do a bunch of like really cool presentations, and this year I will be chairing the Future Programming Task Force, which is specifically for conferences and where and when we're going to be holding conferences for AIS. And Zach.
Oh, I'm on the FBD. And Jenny?
And Jenny?
I don't know if she can talk, but
Jenny's
I know
here.
that-
She's on a committee too, I'm so sorry.
yeah, Jenny's on the mental health committee.
Yeah, so all of
So-
these will be opening up their application again at some point in this year. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But you can also put that on your resume. I did it last year. There's Global Council of Global Representatives, which is the international committee. So you can also do that if you're an international student or want to support international students. Any other general questions or general stuff you want to say? Thoughts, ideas, de-stress, thoughts, we can end the recording for that, but.
Thanks for having this.
Yeah, of course. And we will be having them every single quarter at the beginning of the quarter. Also, if you guys are close by, we're also going to be having a table at Fall Fest. We will be giving away stickers, so if that helps.
So,
Yeah, we have a lot of stickers, so we probably will be giving it to, the groups that we have seen every single day attending these meetings, but we have a lot of stickers and they're really nice, just saying. But yeah.
Yeah, SCAD is like, low-key a small school, so the fact that we even have 4 clubs in this small program, just take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Compared to like a state school, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Jenny.
Bye.